So first up, Jack, we ran through via CoreLogic last week, the stats in terms of vacancy rates. Why are you so pumped and excited? What are you actually seeing here that's getting you excited, and why you think everyone else should be just as excited as you?
Yes, James. In terms of the rental, the vacancy rate is like very important figures we had a look, which means how many properties being vacant on the market. Having a look here, the nationally, up to the February 2022, the vacancy rate we only got a 1.1%, which is the lowest point since 2017. The domain has this record, so which is pretty great. And compared with the last month, which is January of 2022, that's dropped from 1.3 to 1.1. And compared with the 12 months ago, and which is last year, the number was 2.0%. So it's pretty good nationwide. And having looked the two major cities, Sydney and Melbourne, we
just
can
before
say,
you do, Jack, I can see here, this is what's exciting. It's all gone down. So those of you that are a bit unsure, this is the one stat you want to see going down. House prices you want to see going up, vacancies you want to see going down. I think we'll ask a few more questions to the rest of the panel there. But as Jack said, remember, vacancy rate, it's very hard to have rental growth when you've got a lot of vacant properties. So tell us, you were about to say Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah, Sydney and Melbourne, basically the two major cities. We're going to have a look. Sydney's vacancy rate February is 1.7%, same as national, which is the lowest number since November 2017, which is the before the pandemic. So this is way below the pre-pandemic level. And Melbourne has the same, is 2.1%. However, we haven't looked at 12 months ago. The Melbourne has reached to 4.4%. In 12 months, we dropped from 4.4 to 2.1, which is
that's more than 50% drop.
More than 50% drop. And obviously, you mentioned before, the annual change for all the major capital cities all decrease. And for the monthly changes has the same trend, apart from the Adelaide and the Hobart, which is stable. But looking at the number, 0.3, 0.2, I believe there's no more space for them to drop further.
Yeah.
So, and also,
I'd call pretty much everywhere full.
Exactly, exactly. Like even, let's talking about like, for example, 2.3 and the 0.2 and the 0.3%, which means extremely hard to rent a property.
And I mean, let's not forget some of these listings here. You know, a good property manager is proactive and gets the listing out there before the tenant's even moved out. So potentially these figures, whilst they're based on listings, there may be zero vacancy. You know, a good property manager can transition with maybe only just a couple of days.
Exactly. Let's what they have. Oh, this is available, but when we're calling them, unfortunately, it's been leased. So.
Okay. All right.
And let's go into the next the graph. I want to show everybody the trend. And this line is
just in case people can't see, we're starting over here in January 2019
up to the 2022 the February, which is up to the months before, and we're saying this is the vacancy rate, and it's including all the major capital city, of course, the Melbourne City and the nationwide. So this line, we're saying that the dark green is showing the Melbourne. So I did some research here. We can obviously see here, which is the peak point of the Melbourne. That was the 2020 December. So the vacancy rate was 5.2%, which is highest ever. However, for now, I think we got 2.1%, we mentioned before. So just in 15 months, we dropped from the to 5.2 down to 2.1, which is you know,
that's huge. Yeah. And I think this line, so the one that Jack's talking about here is this sort of dark blue that skyrockets here and drops down. So for those of you that can't see, this dotted line here is March 2020. So when coronavirus started, and it's almost hidden because everyone skyrockets from a low of, where were we, just under 1.5%. It quickly skyrockets in the space of a few days up to just under 3%. This shaded area, if you can see here, where it skyrockets again, was, of course, that time that we do not talk about at the end of 2020, which was horrible while the rest of the country was enjoying themselves. Skyrockets again up here to what, about 5.5%.
Yep.
As soon as we come out of lockdown, it gradually comes down and down and down again.
Yep.
Of course, the lockdowns last year didn't have the same effect because we'd already got rid of all that vacancy and it was slowly normalising again. We've been talking about this a lot. But the other biggest thing you see here, just at the end, as soon as we say that the borders are open, it's just dropped dramatically from where are we, sort of just over 3.
This was the December last year. Melbourne is from 3.2 down to 2.1. It's only 3 months. This is the biggest drop over those 3 months. So the Sydney, we also saying this, the light green has the same trend, which driving the national-wide. This is the national trade with pretty much the same curve with Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah. Obviously, Sydney didn't get that same peak, not being locked down as much, but that really shows, some of you are a bit worried about not having students, the borders closed and so forth. But whilst that was a negative, it also shows you what a big positive, that, as Jack said, that record drop in vacancy in that short period of time really shows you that whilst you can be a little bit upset in the short term. I was upset when all my properties became vacant and my rents went down. You've got to take that medium term to longer term view, because as soon as that's changed, vacancies have dropped. And I believe the guys are going to tell us we're going to start seeing rental growth happening if it hasn't already started happening for you. It's not going to happen overnight. Just like my hair, I thought would grow back overnight, but it will happen. So you've really got to focus in there. All right, any other takeaways from this for everyone?
I think everybody wants to know everything behind why the vacancy rate is dropped so quick, and also is what it's going to be if the trend is going continue in this year, next year, in the next 3 years. I think I'm going to bring the Greg, and he will give sort of the information for why and what's going on happen.
Okay, that's what we call a handball from Jack.